Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are back with the founder of Attain Leadership, Dr. Fred Petito, joining us here again from New York, New York. And really, they provide executive coaching and so much more, leadership development, and of course, all different types of services to help marketing executives. Let me have Dr. Fred Petito introduce himself. Go ahead.
Yeah, great job, Jill. I think you got it all. I mean, I've been in the marketing field for over 20 years. I have a doctorate in marketing. So I've worked I think almost most aspects of marketing as it's evolved over the years, from traditional brand marketing and market research to digital and social and data and performance. So it's a very fast evolving multifaceted profession. So I've seen a lot of different sides of it. So I'm happy to be here.
We're excited to have you back. Let's remind everyone of the website, phone number, how we can contact you.
Yep, just attainleadership.com. It's Fred at Attain Leadership is my email, and phone number 973-255. That's +1 if you're outside of the US, +1 973-255-0330.
Perfect. All right. So, what did you have in mind for our audience today? Obviously, with the work you're doing, there's a lot to share how you can help people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, last time we talked a little bit about executive coaching and advisory work. We talked a little bit about marketing and the chief marketing officer. And one of the things I mentioned was that the CMO, the chief marketing officer, they do have one of the highest turnover rates in the C-suite. That's been they're one of the top recruiting firms. Tracks that every year, and it's always on average about 36 to 40 months or 39 months, whatever. Which is, think about it, it's a little over 3 years, and that's a pretty high turnover rate compared to a CFO or a CEO, for example, that are much longer tenure. So I think the question is like what's going on with marketing? Why is it so challenging, and why do marketing executives, why do they need leadership coaching? So I think that was one of the things that where we left off last week.
All right, true. Why do we need leadership coaching?
So I think that the simple fact is that marketing over the years has just gotten it's much more complicated and much more diverse. It's just become and being a marketing leader has become a difficult role. And I think when you look at organizations, both big and small, there's a lot of variability in the role. Not to say there isn't variability in the CE role. I'm sure there's a lot in the CFO role, but the marketing role is very diverse, and it's different in different organizations. So many times, I think right there, helping a marketing, doesn't have to be a CMO, it could be a marketing director or whatever. How do you enter an organization so that you're clear on kind of what the expectations are, and the company you're going to be working with is clear on kind of what you're going to be doing, what your priority is going to be, and so I think there's just a lot of opportunity for confusion, and I think that's one of the reasons why you have such a short average tenure of CMOs and other senior directors. And if you look at the role, right? So years ago, it was a very creative driven profession. It was, certainly there was strategy, market research involved, but now it's become so complex between marketing automation, different platforms, of the sheer number of platforms. Have you ever seen you probably have never seen one of these charts with all the advertising platforms. There's hundreds of them, and it's more than an eye chart. It's just super confusing. And as a result, the role is become much more complicated, much more difficult. So I think that there's a couple of things going on. One is it's super difficult for any one person to master all these domains of marketing. It's just not realistic. So that's one side of it, right? That's just the marketing domain. There's also the data piece and the analytics piece and the ROI piece, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think also it puts more pressure on the marketer to be a savvy, agile, executive. And I think a lot of marketers are fantastic marketers, but I think because of the challenges of the role, yeah, many of them haven't had an opportunity necessarily to develop those leadership skills that are going to help them navigate this web.
And I mean, what are some of the, I don't want to give away all your secrets, but some secrets to your success and
Sure.
how we can make better leaders. Could you share any of that or any tips, small tips that we could start doing, making changes today, right now,
Yeah.
during this podcast?
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts with when a senior marketing executive, a CMO, whatever, when they're they change jobs often because of the facts of the tenure and the turnover I talked about is make sure that the need for a CMO is clear, or a chief marketing officer, or a senior marketing director. Many times companies need someone as the head of marketing, but they don't know what they need. And let's face it, a lot of CEOs, a lot of boards, others, they're not experts in marketing. They don't really know what they don't know. So I think that like the word that comes to mind, the words are due diligence, right? So do your due diligence, make sure that the role is clearly defined, that the role is justified, and I think even more important, it's that they're hiring the right type of marketing executive, marketing leaders, CMO. So there's lots of flavors. You could be going to work for a company that's a business to business software company. That's going to be a different scenario from somebody who worked at Procter and Gamble, selling the toothpaste for 15 years. That's a different a skill set. It's a consumer marketer. That's not a B2B marketer, and that's not someone who's necessarily going to have a lot of experience with software. So I think it's a matter of how do you as that executive be super self-aware and do your homework because again, 39 months is the average tenure. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but a lot of times it's not a great fit. So that's a big one. Um, I think another big thing is once you're in there is, you know, it's kind of like three-dimensional chess, right? You need to be great at marketing. You need to be great at doing breakthrough campaigns and driving, great customer experience and all these things. You also need to navigate this the organization. There's a lot of people in a lot of organizations who think they could do marketing better than the chief marketing officer or the marketing department, right? It's one of those things where everybody has an opinion. The person on the board or the person out in the field. Everybody could do it better. So I think that navigating building those relationships and having the rapport with people and selling your strategy, selling your vision, creating an inspired vision, right? Selling it, getting people to buy in, and showing them what the future looks like. I think is very important. That you cannot underestimate that kind of relational part of being a successful marketer.
All right. And by the way, Attain Leadership, just want to point out Dr. Fred Petito is who we're talking to here. And if you do want to reach him, remind us of the website.
Attainleadership.com.
Perfect. All right, let's continue. What else did you have in mind for our audience, your audience today?
Yeah, I mean, I think another big question is, why should we all care? Why should a company care about this? Why should the C-suite, a C-level executive, or a board of director feel? Well, why should I care, right? So I think that the easy answer for that is that the scope and importance of marketing has expanded so dramatically in the last 5, 10, even more years than that. But organizations have a lot of companies have gone through transformation initiatives in the last 5, 10 years, and they're really now organizing around the customer, right? They're organizing around their clients, and it's all about delivering customer value. It's all about knowing the needs and filling the needs of the customers, which is great. That is what marketing is all about. And so the role of the marketer has increased dramatically, right? So instead, again, years ago, it's all about campaigns, like, communicating the brand. Now you need, the marketing team is become like the head of the customer experience. They are kind of on the forefront of this customer centricity, if you will. Um, so the success of marketing many times is the success of the company. It's the success of the company's ability to attract customers, acquire them, keep them, get, make money off of them and service their, service their needs. So if you're not, if you're, if that CEO and that board are not setting their marketing team up for success, they're going right at, it's a significant risk to the business. And as you know, it's a highly competitive, marketing place. And if you're not able to deliver the experience, deliver the value, deliver the relevance of your brand to your customers, you're not going to be around for very long. And, companies go, some companies that were just, amazing, Fortune 50 companies 10, 15 years ago aren't anymore because they've lost sight of that. So company, executives, senior executives want their and need their marketing teams to succeed, and their marketing executives succeed for these reasons. So I think that is I think that's reason enough that this whole shift towards customer centricity in kind of corporate strategy over the last 5, 10 years is more than enough reason to make sure that they're successful.
How did things change with the pandemic, with COVID and the whole marketing business? Has it helped? Has it been hindered? Things have changed clearly, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that uh, I do believe it's gotten more competitive. I don't think people were able so much to spend as much time thinking about the brands that they buy and the brands that they want to experience and can continue relationships with. And so I do think that customer expectations have been increasing for years. And this kind of customer, kind of driving the show almost, especially with the rise of social media. So I think COVID has accelerated all these trends. These trends were happening already. This trend towards customer centricity, this trend toward companies organizing around their customer base. COVID just accelerated it.
Got it. And what else for today did you want to share again with Attain Leadership? There's so much to the work you're doing, the types of companies, I mean, that you're working with. I don't know if you can share any stories or client experiences or specific, clients that you're allowed to
Yeah, of
mention.
course. Yeah, I work with a lot of different clients in a lot of different industries, healthcare, automotive, consumer goods. Um, I think that when I look at the the senior executives, and this is all about supporting the marketing executive and helping them navigate this increasingly difficult environment, right? I think that it's a really, for me, it's a very exciting area because I've seen it for over 20 years. So I think some of the things that I've seen is where marketers don't do so well, right? And I talked earlier about setting expectations early on, right? Going into a new role. Also, it's like not managing the politics of marketing well, right? So um, every organization has politics, but many times you have these turf wars and you have these power grabs, and marketers often fall on the wrong side of that situation. So being super self-aware, and it's not being, I don't like the word politics so much. It's more about maybe being organizationally aware and savvy and having the relationships and and the authenticity to make people understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what you aspire to accomplish. So those are important things for marketers to, again, it's become, being a great marketing leader has become so much more about being a great marketer, and which has become so much more difficult, and having those kind of those organizational savvy, those relationship skills, that emotional intelligence, and that agility, I think is is become even a more critical skill set. And so I think combined, all those things make it really challenging. Yeah, I talked earlier about that kind of the everybody's a marketer, everybody could do it better than you syndrome. There's also like the marketing by committee trap, right? Many times you'll have the senior marketing team, will try to go out and they'll get, opinions from everyone. And all of a sudden you have, it's marketing by committee. You have everybody commenting on the copy or the headline or the messaging or the value proposition and then what ends up happening is you have something that's really off strategy and not really relevant to the customer. So, that's a risk for the marketer. They want to certainly include others, make sure they understand where your strategy is going, but you can't water it down. So that's another thing I've seen quite a bit about, or a risk area, if you will. Another big area where things go sideways is where those marketing directors don't manage that sales connection. There's a sales disconnect, again, many times the CMO or the chief marketing officer doesn't win that one, right? So, but sales marketing is all about enabling sales, and so they need to have, again, really great relationships and partnerships with that sales team. So those are the kinds of things I see. And other things are, that the know-it-all marketing director, that the CMO that has only answers, and that's a short. That's certainly a way to alienate a lot of people and not have a very successful tenure at a company. So those are some of the things that you still want to steer people clear of. In terms of what do you do? Like what do you advise these folks to do? It's all about, again, I talked earlier about relationships and emotional intelligence, organizational savvy, but it's kind of making sure you have the right priorities in place, and you have the right team in place, so the right talent mix, and those kinds of things are very important as well.
And networking, right? And we talked about that a little, I think, last time, right? Didn't you learn? It was your father is your mentor, right? In a sense, kind of taught you the ropes in a sense. And we talked a little bit about the networking process, right?
Yeah, I think that networking piece is kind of that internal networking, right? So again, uh, these folks are turning over, unfortunately, every 3 years on average. You got to rebuild all those connections, and rebuild or build those connections with your different stakeholders, and have those relationships and have that trust, so that when it comes time to getting alignment on something, you have people that have been inspired, hopefully, by you, but also trust you. And you do that by painting the big picture. You bring genuine conviction about why you want to go this way. And so you do need to generate a following, right? So that is certainly, networking is critical.
Well, also, we got 8 minutes left on our show. Dr. Fred Petito, Attain Leadership. And is there other area of focus that you want to kind of hone in on for us, our audience? And but great conversation. And I love hearing, the stories of the clients you've helped and how you've seen them grow from point A to point B with your coaching. And, clearly it's speaks volumes. And you've been doing this for how many years? My goodness, a lot, right?
Yeah,
Without
yeah,
dating you.
over
20s.
20 over 20
Okay.
years. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, another thing is just ensuring that you have air cover, right? So that, again, you have your CEO, your board, or whomever that you're reporting into. Um, they buy into and they support the vision. They are also giving that marketing team, a seat at the table, so a seat at the leadership table. One of the things that I've seen also is you'll have um, a senior marketer who has a lot of responsibility, or a CMO has a lot of responsibility for driving revenue, driving profitable growth, improving customer satisfaction, things that you'd expect a CMO or a senior marketer to be accountable for. But then they don't have a seat at the table. So they don't have knowledge of like the business. They don't have insight into what's driving the business. And so that's a super big risk for a lot of senior marketers. So again, you could be the best doing marketing is not the same as leading marketing. And so, that's where the goal of Attain is not to, when we're working with marketers, is not to say, oh, we're not going to talk about all those things that you need to talk about. We are going to talk about making sure you have the right team in place to support all the foundational marketing skills, brand management and strategic planning and insights, and you have the right digital and operational people in place, which is become a much even bigger part of the business as a marketer over the last few years. And then also, you got to focus on the analytics and the performance and the ROI and all that stuff. Those are table stakes. You also need to be very, very skilled at managing this web of relationships that have a stake in your success, but also, that you need to count on. You need to count on your CFO to understand, why you're putting dollars where you're putting them, and so you get hopefully you get the ability to invest in future programs. You need the support of the chief technology officer, chief information officer, because a lot of times they're implementing the systems that are going to be in place to make you successful. So yeah, there's the kind of relational, there's the organizational savvy side of it. Then there's also all these other things that are kind of the nuts and bolts of marketing that you need to handle. So I think it's one of the most difficult roles in modern organizations. And not to say that being a CFO or a chief human resources officer is easy, but I don't think that I think that the sheer complexity and all of the variability of the role is more significant for marketers.
All right. Well, we still got 2 minutes left. What else? How do you want to sum up today's show? I guess we should say.
Yeah, I think that the whole point of what we do as a coaching and advisory firm is to partner with marketers to ensure their success, right? And I do think a lot of marketers are self-aware of kind of some of these challenges that we just talked about, but I do think that some of them aren't as self-aware, and I think because of the sheer intensity of their job and the demands put on them. So I think I think they should try to learn more, understand, self-educate themselves about what is the current dynamics around marketing executives in organizations today. And there's certainly there's stuff in the management literature about that, the business reviews and all that stuff, the Forbes and all those places. And I think that marketers need to do maybe a little bit more self-advocacy and for themselves and realization that, hey, this is a really hard job. It's progressively harder in the last 5-10 years, and it's going to get even more difficult. And I think it's fair for the community marketers to expect more from senior leadership in these companies where they're working to support them. And that certainly is an area that some companies do really well, some not so well. And so I think that's something that people who maybe in companies where they aren't so customer centric or marketing forward need to be able to articulate the challenges and advocate for more support for marketing.
Got it. All right. Well, remind us of all the ways we can reach you at Attain Leadership.
AttainLeadership.com, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and Fred at Attain Leadership is my email.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And if someone's interested in your services, do you offer an initial consultation?
Yeah, absolutely. for 45-minute consultation, free, just to get a sense on what's happening in their situation and how we could help them.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Dr. Fred Petito. And of course, pleasure having you here and your staff at Attain Leadership, helping in so many different ways. You have a fantastic day and an even better week. And hopefully we'll be back together next week. I think we are, right?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Thanks,
Sounds
Jill.
good. Have a great day. Thank you. And to all of our listeners, please stay tuned. More of the show is on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.